Hey, welcome everyone. In today's class, we'll practice with the metal element. And this element is connected to your lungs and the large intestine. And it has a lot to do with the last release. It's the last, many times seen as the last element also of the circle. So a deep ending to this journey if you've been journeying through all elements with me, or maybe you're starting from this, then it's a beautiful beginning also, because the circle is always continuing and every ending of a chapter is also an opening to a new book, a new season. So let's dive in to our lungs and the metal today. We're gonna actually start seated. So you can either be seated on your bolster if you're happy to sit in cross-legged. We'll do a little bit of a breath awakening in a very mellow and gentle way. And so I'm going to have you bring your right hand into your left armpit or a little bit below that, left hand into your right, and then just see if you can relax a little bit through the arms. Eyes can either be closed or you can gaze somewhere in your own space, just becoming aware first of your surroundings and what you are in connection to. And then perhaps just observing first how the breath is moving. You don't even have to change it, but becoming aware. Becoming aware of your breath is many times this first step. And befriending. And if it would feel okay for you, can start to gently breathe lightly into where you feel your hands. You might feel a small expansion with the lungs when you inhale, and then there's the condensing or the contraction with the exhale. Give it 3 more rounds of breath just with this gentle exploration. Almost in a very organic way, so there's not pushing, pulling. Many times your normal breath is of more quality than when you force the breath to move through big. Last round of breath with this one. And then as you exhale next time, you can just relax your arms down. See how you feel after this. The breath usually tells a lot of stories. And the metal element in itself has this potency of alchemizing us and changing perspective and bringing things to a full completion and into our own true essence. We'll continue a little bit into the lungs, and the lung meridians are running through your arms. You're going to bring the right hand out to the right, and then let the left arm open up and over. You can either keep the left hand on the shoulder if you have shoulder things going on, or if you're able to, left hand somewhere behind the skull. You can lean a little bit back and see if you can walk that right hand a little bit further over. And then to open to the side body lightly. Nice. Either stay, or the next time you exhale, let the left elbow drop a little bit in and down, so it's more rounding through the upper back. Feel through the back of the lungs here, pause. And then inhale to reopen. Let's do 2 more of that. Exhaling to round a little bit in and down. And then when the lungs expand, you're going to start to inhale, reopen. 1 more with this. Just awakening this breath support that we have there, available for us to reopen. Inhale. And then exhaling, let the left hand search for ground again. You can reset the spine a little bit, shimmy, shimmy in the shoulders. And then we'll do the other side. So this time left hand or any opposite side that you didn't do comes down. You ground a little bit down, right arm reaches up, and either right hand on the shoulder. This is already enough, or if you're able to, hand behind the head. One is just slightly deeper. You're going to press the head back into the hand lightly. Hold here for a moment and maybe walking that left hand a little bit further out so that you can really feel the right side open more. A little bit of awakening there into the lung, right lung. And you can stay, or next exhale will roll a little bit down, rounding. And then pause this first time for a moment so you feel the back of the lungs awaken. Gentle breaths. And then with a bit more pace, we inhale, open. And exhale, spiral to close. Last one like this, inhale to open. And exhale, spiral in to close. With the next inhale, open, right arm up to sky. Wiggle, wiggle. And then both arms down just to rest. You can reset again to the shoulders, or if you want to do a small spinal spiral there, one side to the other. Good. And then from here, we'll continue over to hands and knees. And we'll come in with the bolster today to the Anahata Asana. So it's going to be slightly deeper through the shoulders, arms. So bolster is going to turn to be facing or parallel to the short sides ends of the mat. And then start out on your knees a little bit closer to the bolster so that you can bring your elbows first, about shoulder width apart. If you're unsure, you can try measuring, grabbing hold of the elbows just like that, like a small square. And then from that, we lift the palms into prayer. When you have this set up, you can lift yourself a little bit up and then walk the knees further back. So here we just want to deepen the stretch slightly with bringing the elbows higher. Head can come to bolster, or if you have a lot of kind of length in this bone, upper arm, you might be able to bring the head closer to the mat. I'm going to stay up higher just because this is more comfortable for me. Knees might walk a little bit further back. And think of that gentle drop down, down, down through the chest. And you can even explore reaching the palm of the hands a little bit forward and massaging them back in. And finding a place to settle. Eyes might close and giving this breath of support. As you might know, when we're working with the shoulders, these are quite delicate areas of the body, so you still want to be in awareness of not pushing yourself too much. Many times starting out a little bit lighter, or even lifting and lowering the chest like I am doing here a couple of times, might actually give you a bit more sensation to feel the energies that we're working with. Can you give breath from your lungs into your arms, into your hands? Really organize your structure to comfort, to alchemize your breath energy. You can take 3 more rounds of breath gently. Again, imagine breath really traveling through the whole body. Potency of you. And try pressing one elbow down and then the other. And then carefully start to lift up. So you press a little bit down to come up. And let's come to sit just to relax the arms for a moment. You can sit back to your heels. Allow the hands to come into your lap. You can turn the palms open. And feel the space around you. Feel the space that you're sitting in. One more round of breath just with this. Noticing the lung capacity, and then we'll continue soon together. You can take a little bit of time to orient back to your space if your eyes were closed, giving yourself a small scooch and squeeze into your legs. I find that this is really grounding always. And we'll continue soon down to our belly. And for this one, have your bolster to your right side. And then I'm going to have you grab both of your blocks also with you, just so that you might want to use them soon as a little bit of head support. So you kind of have one or both there. And then let's start down on our belly in a very lazy sphinx. And with the lazy sphinx, I mean that the elbows can be further forward. So there's less of a lift really of the spine, and you're kind of able to just hang out here. You might want to rock your hips a couple of times just to get into this. And we're going to come into shoelace arms. And this is one of those that I find really beneficial when we're working with the lungs, and it really gets us into those meridians of the lungs into our arms. So your left hand is going to come behind your right elbow, and then allow the right hand to kind of slide in front of your left. So check your right arm is in front of the left. And then use your fingertips like inchworms. You're going to walk hands away from each other, so away from the midline. So we're almost like you're tightening shoelaces with the arms. Elbows either in, close. I feel like this is really intense, or a little bit further forward to give you more space. And then a nice option here, if you're able just to drop the chin down to the top arm, you can hang out here. Or if you feel like this is actually quite a lot, you can stay up higher. You can massage yourself a little bit into it. Or as said, the block could come in. So I would maybe have it either 2 blocks on top of each other or one on the second level. It's usually the more challenging part to get the block to a good place for you to rest onto. But once you get there, it's quite nice just to hang out so you don't have all the pressure of your head on top of the arms. And you can try also turning your palms more up, or what happens if I close them. So all of these small adjustments can actually do quite a lot for you. And there should never be pain. Really to stay honest and to support yourself. And now when we're in this deeper rounding kind of through the upper back, you can explore the breath to the back of the body. Thinking about that space between the shoulder blades. Organizing yourself into comfort. Last moments here, if you need any wiggles, or if you, for instance, want to deepen the stretch a little bit, you can always adjust the blocks a little bit forward. Sometimes we're just required to hold a gentle shape a little bit, and then things will start to kind of open new doors for us. The alchemy of breath and the alchemy of awareness. Metal. Let's take one more round of breath. And then you can first lift the head. You might need to push the blocks a little bit forward if they're straight under the head, and then just under the front arm. So your right hand is going to travel across the mat like that. Going to press down and then roll over to your left side. So you're facing now your bolster. Good. Now, you're going to continue over to a twist, and you're going to bend your knees so that the bolster can come between your legs. So really a lot of support there. And then let the head first come down to chill, to rest, just like that. Let right arm to open up to sky, and then like a wing, you start to rotate the upper back down to the floor. Today, search for a little bit more height with the arms if you're able to bring them higher up. So it's a little bit of a, I usually say, starfish shape. And then last option, try bringing the thumb and the index finger together. Chin mudra. And there's meridian endings for lung and large intestine in your index and thumb, so you can gently and lightly press them a little bit into each other. Maybe imagine these energy connections to your lung support. And as you're breathing, finding breath into your arms, into your hands. If the arms and hands get tired, you can always soften them more, so there's no need for perfection. Yin is always for your arrival to receive. And if you're still in the twist with me and you want to try to lift the arms a little bit higher up, or for instance bend the elbows, you can always do that. We'll hold a couple more breaths. One more round of breath in and out to release. You can wiggle your fingers, and let's just roll lazily over to the side body. You can bring a hand under the head and push the bolster a little bit out of the way. Good. And then from here, we're actually going to sit up for a moment. You can help yourself gently up to sit before we do the sequence to the other side. And we'll come to the forward fold of butterfly. And even though it is quite introverted, we're still able to really feel into the lungs at the back body. And it's giving us also this nourishment of support to the metal. So what you can do today is have your bolster, your blocks, and now today we're going to get a bit more specific. The metal is the organized one. It likes to have things in place and in boxes, so we're having a bit more of, things to follow. So check that you have about one width, longest level block between your heels and your hips. Once you have that checked, you can set that away. And then bolster, you might bring over your legs after this as a little bit support. And then you can start to fold down and forward. Your head can either rest down to the bolster, or if you want to be higher up, more propped up, please bring any extra pillows or blocks under forehead. You can press your feet a little bit into each other so you find that connection, and then allow the arms either to come forward like where I am, or you can reach the arms back also if you want to rest the shoulders a little bit more. Arms could even go under the bolster. I find that it's super nice to kind of hold on, to really rest. And then once you find your perfect place, you can start to breathe into the back body more, holding space for what's there. Just noticing this inner rhythm of your breath, of your lungs. And then if you notice that, hey, I want to adjust a little bit, you can always come up higher or even to dig in a little bit deeper for the last minute. You can recheck a little bit of pressing in with the feet towards each other. Many times I find that we kind of connect so much to the lungs with the metal that we forget about the rest of our body and have the lower centers also and the legs with us. So full body connection always. How much presence can you give to your breath? The breath that changes oxygen to energy, just for you to be receptive. That is alchemy. And start to slowly and gently find your way back out of this. You might want to lean back or take a few seated cats and cows. Or roll out the head, neck. And then we'll come to the other side. I'm going to demo it so that I change my position to face the other side of my mat, but feel free to stay in your own direction. You can again move the blocks a little bit to the top. And then when you turn to face the short side, check that your bolster is on the left side of yourself. Then we come down to the lazy sphinx. So down to your belly. And you can extend the elbows a little bit further away from you so you don't have them directly under the shoulder. And first wiggling your hips here, getting into the supportive ground. Then right hand comes behind the left hand comes in front of the right. So now when you look down, the right arm is behind the left. And then we'll do the same thing here so that you're gonna walk the hands away from each other. I usually just use my fingers like small creatures walking out away from the midline, shoelace arms, elbows forward or in. And even though this is similar, there will be a change of heart compared to the other side. So you might need to just drop the chin down. Or if you want a little bit support like I do, you can have one block or even both blocks. You can always change the position of them also. We do have different anatomy, or like bone structure looks different for all of us. So really respect where you're at. You can turn the palms a little bit up or down and see how you want to land. And look for any unnecessary tension really to drop. Many times when we're working with tension, we start to kind of build up this new layer of tension that supports and kind of protects. And yes, it's needed, but also sometimes we do hold stuff just because of stress, because of our nervous system. So what can you open? What can you relax? Is it your toes or your jaw? And to stay in that aliveness if something needs to change or shift, to honor that. And then for the last moments, if you want to try something of deeper or more depth, or if you even want to come up a little bit higher, you can always respect those requests that the body gives you. A little bit goes a long way. And often the subtle things are more potent than the super intense things. Organizing your breath into the arms, into the hands. And then for hands to come out, you can press the hips a little bit down. You can lift the head off the blocks if you had it there, and then press the blocks a little bit out. And now just the front arm, so your left arm is going to redo it, kind of slide across the mat. And then you're going to press down and roly-poly over to the right side of your body. So you'll be again facing your own bolster. And you might need to adjust yourself. Sometimes I roll completely off the mat when I do that transition. Note it's normal. Bend the knees, bolster up, chin there. Between the knees, I love this variation. And then head can come down for a moment rest. When you're ready to open to your twist, let the left arm fly open like a small wing, and then gently to open up. If you have space, opening arms up higher, and you can again try the index and thumb together, the chin mudra. But here we're aiming more to the meridian lines of your lungs, large intestine. And head can either turn to one side, or you can keep the nose more up. To find breath of support. You might have the eyes closed to really look at that inner movement of breath. But know that you can also connect to something in your own space if you have a plant that you want to observe or connect to. Everything goes. We'll have our last moment. So again, if you want to adjust your arms up higher or lower, follow it. Observing lung capacity. And after the next round of breath, start to roll your way back to your side. It's closing the twist down and let yourself chill to receive. When you're ready to come out, you can press the bolster a little bit forward out. And we'll come to sit together. We'll come for our last asana today, which is the reclined fish. And a really great one just to open a little bit through the lungs, and very restorative also. The bolster is going to come out behind you, and if you want to shimmy the filling a little bit away, you can do that movement. I usually like to do that. And then let's bring at least one block under the top. So you can either go like that if you feel like you want to come with it a little bit higher. That's more than okay. We're going to turn our backs towards the bolster and then have about 1 hand length between yourself and the bolster. It's really nice for the sacrum and lower back to keep a bit distance in the beginning. And then start with spine getting comfortable. So you might need to shimmy yourself forward or a little bit higher up. You can start with knees either resting in and feet a little bit wider just to let the spine settle. And we'll come into a few arm movements before the full fish takes place. So like a snow angel, allow the arms to travel gently higher up, maybe all the way, and then closing it back down. So I think snow angel arms, you can bend the elbows a little bit, just searching your way in. Good. Last rounds here. The arms can first come down, palms to earth to ground the energy, and then see if you can bring the legs down to the floor. And I like a little bit of distance there between my ankles. You can either rest the arms down, or for the lungs, you might want to open up a little bit. Or hands. You could grab the elbows behind the head. I have students who like to cross the fingers behind the skull and let the elbows kind of hang down more. It's quite nice. It's very opening though, so you might not want to be here for the full amount of time. But let yourself explore what would be the most nourishing ending. like a soft release, a crystallization of this gentle journey. Every inhale that expands the lungs. Every exhale that gives away something. It is this cycle of giving, receiving, and also transmuting. The transmutation and the change. And whatever you're holding, to let that be part of it. If the arms get tired, you bring them back down. Final breaths here with the lungs. To stay in your own experience. And if you know that you would be just happy to stay here, can hold this shape as long as you want. But if you want to come out with me preparing for Shavasana, we'll bend the knees. We'll roll a little bit to one side so that you now can, for a micro moment, sit up and change the bolster to come under the knees. And if you had a block there, you can actually leave it. We'll use it as a little bit of a neck release before the last restoration. So let yourself bring the bolster under the knees, or you can skip this step if you'd rather be with the legs on the floor. And then the block that is there close the ground, bring it to the second level. And then under the base of the skull, we call this the occiput. So when you bring the back of the head down there will be a little bit of a tilt with the chin down, like double chin mode. You can hold on to the block, or you can release the arms down. I find that both are nice. And then you can start to gently massage your head against the block by gently turning the nose from one side to the other. And the last reset for the skull. Eyes can be closed or open. And if you find a really juicy spot, or if you feel like, hey, I need to shift the block a little bit, you can always do that. And then if this is good, you can stay. Otherwise, we'll gently remove the block, letting the head now come down to ground. And you might feel a nice kind of shift. Before Shavasana, see if you want to stretch out one more time. So almost like you're tensing up a little bit, like reaching, and then melt everything. And if it helped you to soften more, you can try one more time. So small kind of tensing in. Don't do it at 100%, just about 60, and holding it, squeezing everything, and then release. Final Shavasana now. And then, friends, if you want to stay in Shavasana longer, please feel free to pause the video. If you're starting to arrive back with me, bring one hand gently to the lower belly, the other one to the heart. And perhaps observing your breath one more time. There might be a felt sense of movement under your hands. Even if it's tiny, I'm not looking for anything big, but just this observance. Perhaps you stay here, or you can start to release the arms, finding a little bit of a wiggle there to awaken the body into a space. And then we'll start to come up to sit for closing, and know that you can do this also from the ground. You don't have to come up to sit. So in your own way, a small rock there, awakening, and then you can roll to one side and then gently come up. And let's close the way we opened. You can again bring your right hand to your left armpit, left hand into your right, and then see if you can relax as much as you can through the arms. Awareness of breath again. Almost like you're gently holding support to yourself. Re-establishing this connection to you and your metal element within. The crystallization. And then right there to find your ending. And with this, we'll close today. A big thank you for joining in with me for the metal element. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did, and hope to see you again in another video.